Rubin versus Michael Majors already underway in Game 3. Black-green Delirium on Rubin's side, Majors on Teamer Emerge. We see on Majors' side, he took the first damage of the game from Tireless Tracker. Draws a card off a clue token. He will play a 5th land and say go. Now on Rubin's side, he's at 20. He has 2 clue tokens and a Tireless Tracker. Things seem to be going his way, but that's generally how this works until Majors gets up to the Eldrazi's.
Yeah, Majors is trying to set up the Kozilek's Return, any 7+ mana Eldrazi. He has 3 Wretched Gryph, 2 Elder Deep Fiend, 3 Emrakul, the Promise End, and that's just kind of what his deck does.
Rubin, turn 5, cracks a clue to put the tracker up to a 4/3.
Nice thing about Tyler's Tracker is it can get up to 6 toughness.
Yeah, it's going to do it again here. Now up to 4 toughness. Still 1 clue left. And Rubin is going to traverse. You're not wrong, and it's actually next turn, if Rubin wants to spend another turn cracking clues, he can make it, he can insulate this creature from Kozilek's Return. Yeah,
and Tracker is one of Rubin's best cards in this matchup. If you can get it up to 6 toughness before the Kozilek's Return's fired off, Majors is literally trying to Emrakul and make you attack it into Emrakul.
So Majors will drop to 12 as he grapples with the past. Eldrazi's aplenty as he mills into an Elder Deep Fiend and an Emrakul. He has his choice between those two, can also take a Forest or a Tireless Tracker.
His deck is definitely one that wants to make a lot of land drops, so this is going to depend a lot on the contents of the hand.
Yeah, counting, if you're looking at the Emrakul, he's got enchantment, creature, instant, land. So it's going to discount it by 4. Still 9 to go, though. That's going to be a ways off.
Right, and only 5 lands in play yet. Though it is the card that he's going to need to beat this Tireless Tracker.
All right, and he might, if that's true, and Mike Majors seems to think so, he'll put it in his hand. So we're back to turn 6 here for Michael Majors. Land, and now we have Ishkana Graph Widow. There are 4 creature types or card types in the yard, so this will come with 3 spiders.
Yeah, this buys a good amount of time.
Go back over to Steve Rubin. So the 3/5 bringing along some 1/2s. So impressive about this is when you add it up, it's 6 power and 11 toughness worth of creatures, all for 5 mana.
Yeah, extremely efficient when it's on, and as it turns out, not terribly difficult to enable.
You see Rubin eyes a Grasp of Darkness in his hand. Not enough to take care of Ishkana by itself. He's got a full grip though, 7 cards here.
And Rubin also playing an Ishkana deck, so if both players are hanging out with Ishkana and nothing's really happening in combat, Rubin has the advantage of having access to black mana, and if that's the board we get towards, he can just start activating his and killing Majors without having to have a good combat step.
Right, now he does know that both players play Emrakul, but Majors' is already in his hand.
Right. With a couple more mill spells, Majors' copy also threatens to flash back a Kozilek's Return, potentially.
Rubin will play a land, get a second clue, and then attack with Tireless Tracker. Now Majors does have 6 tough power worth of creatures, but instead he just puts a 1/2 in front of it. Rubin will crack a clue. Draws into, it looks like, To the Slaughter.
Yeah, there will be a risk of Rubin cracking all of his clues and having a kill spell and just eating Major's entire board.
So one thing I'm noticing here is that Rubin, he's cracked his last clue now. He has 2 Ishkanas in his hand and continues to draw kill spells here, but rather than casting Ishkanas, it looks like he's drawing cards, maybe he's looking for something else. And you see, he has to actually discard Ishkana due to hand size.
I do think that his primary focus in this game is just to continue to make land drops and make this Tireless Tracker as large as possible. Additional Tireless Trackers would be huge. He does play multiple copies. There's 3 copies in the main deck. No 4th in the sideboard, looks like, but getting multiple trackers online is great. And of course, casting his own Emrakul could really mess up what Majors is up to.
Now, to be fair, Majors' deck's so light on removal, this Tireless Tracker has gotten up to 7-6, and it's becoming unclear if Majors is actually going to be able to kill it. Instead, he's going to hit back. He attacks Rubin for 5. Rubin double black up. He does have a Grasp of Darkness in his hand, though no particularly appealing targets.
Yeah, it's one shy of dealing with Ishkana. The 1/2 spiders are not an inviting target for Grasp of Darkness, though he was discarding last turn, so just casting a spell is not wholly unreasonable.
Kill a spider or gain 3. He chooses to take it all. He goes to 15. Michael Majors, 3 cards in hand. One of them's Emrakul. He will pass to Rubin. On end step, Rubin grasps away a spider. Suppose there's a chance what Majors may have played something like a Wretched Griff, something, you know, Noose Constrictor, Tireless Tracker, something that would demand that grasp a little more.
Right, and the reason for the grasp, it was, of course, cast after combat. He didn't care about the 1 life. He just wanted to cast a spell.
And here we see Elder Deep Fiend from Michael Majors. On the stack, looks like it's going to attempt to tap down Rubin's Tireless Tracker and all his non-swamp lands.
There's a copy of To the Slaughter in Rubin's hand here. Unfortunately, neither of these creatures are planeswalkers.
You see he'll cast To the Slaughter with that tap, the mana that's about to be tapped. This is all before Elder Deep Fiend's on the battlefield, so Majors has to sacrifice the Ishkana. Also to note, you notice that Majors only has 7 mana here. That's because he sacrificed a spider token so that he could pay the emerge cost on Elder Deep Fiend as opposed to the 8 mana cost in the upper right.
Right. Big reason for casting this now. Tap down the tracker, try to buy time so that he can actually cast Emrakul.
Steve plays and sacrifices an Evolving Wilds, getting 2 more clues for his Tireless Tracker. He's tirelessly growing here. It's larger than most of the Eldrazi already.
Without some humans like that, there's just too much suspension of disbelief in the fight between the humans and the Eldrazi, right?
Yeah, this guy has come to single-handedly brawl with the Elder Deep Fiend. A swing will put Rubin down to 10. His life total's now just about even up. 11 on Major side, 10 on Rubin's.
This is kind of the Bruce Willis of Innistrad, Tireless Tracker is.
You know, it's going to be him saving humanity from the aliens. Ooh, Lashweed Lurker from Majors. This will emerge out of the Elder Deep Fiend, and it's going to try to put that Tireless Tracker back on Rubin's deck. That will work.
That is not an ideal exchange for Rubin here.
And then Nissa's Pilgrimage from Michael Majors. Now, he certainly has Spell Mastery, so he'll get 3 forests. You see 1 into play tapped, 1 into hand. He's put that directly into play as he hasn't played a land this turn.
Ever closer to Emrakul.
Yeah, and we may actually just be there. You see 5 tapped lands for Majors. You see the 4 above it. The land in hand. He will be able to Emrakul next turn.
Yeah, the only thing stopping him would be his desire to cast it, or if Rubin has some kind of discard spell. Looks like there are 3 Infinite Obliteration in his sideboard.
Maybe some Transgress the Mind, or is he's just yeah, he has 2 in the main. But he'd have to draw it. And I believe he's drawing Tireless Tracker.
Right, that was put on top of his deck. He did have an extra clue that he just cracked. 1 clue still to go. Could try to dig for it.
Right, he knows about the Emrakul in Majors' hand. And he sees the graveyard, the lands, he knows it's coming. His draw this turn was Liliana the Last Hope.
Liliana can beat Emrakul if you cast it on turn 3 and get an emblem really quick. Top decking it is not how you win that fight.
And the way Rubin has played this game, has always been a race against Emrakul. You saw him just go very quickly to try to pump his Tireless Tracker. It felt like he knows that when Emrakul happens out of Majors' hand, things are going to get bad. So he was really aggressively pushing damage, even though he couldn't do it efficiently, right? He had to make clues, crack them, but sure.
His role in the matchup is very awkward. Major's deck goes a bit larger than Rubin's deck does. Rubin's deck is generally the control deck. In most of its matchups, that's going to be the case. Though in this matchup, he has to try to be the aggressor and close the game before Majors just goes way over the top if he fails to find an early infinite obliteration to try to shut off Major's game plan.
Nissa Vastwood Seer finds Rubin a forest. He'll cast Tireless Tracker. Looks like he'll be traversing the Ulfenwald. We'll see for what. For his own Emrakul, but his is going to be the second Emrakul. Now, Majors will control Steven's next turn. But it's gain control of target opponent's next turn. So we'll see just how much damage he can do. Steve Rubin going to flip his Planeswalker into the Vastwood Seer into the Sage Animist, make a 4/4. And we've seen a lot of times in these Emrakul mirrors, the first Emrakul is not actually the end of the game.
Right, your opponent should still have a turn after. With Rubin casting Emrakul, then he should be able to make the two Emrakuls trade with each other. So that solves the Emrakul problem.
Source 5 card types in Majors' graveyard. What it looks like he's done, if you're watching his graveyard, is that top row of his graveyard is one of each card type, and the bottom row are redundant copies of each type. So Emrakul costing 8 will be his cast. And now here is Steve Rubin's next turn as played by Michael Majors. So Infinite Obliteration will be drawn. Michael's going to check the text on that as we are. He's just how much damage, you know, can he obliterate himself?
Right.
See, no, we are not in 2005.
But I'm controlling your turn, and you're my opponent.
No,
it doesn't quite work that way.
No, this can only target Michael Majors. That would be something, though.
That would be very bizarre.
Yeah, he can play it and, you know, name garbage, right?
Well,
garbage isn't
not
a card.
name.
All right, he could, yeah, name something not in Michael's deck.
So here's a small percentage play Majors can make. He doesn't want to draw any more copies of Primal Druid.
Oh, wait, that's even better. He purposely obliterates his bad draws.
Yeah, turn off a couple dead draws.
That's sweet. I'm a big fan. That's so much. That's just so much value.
I mean, it's a very small amount of value, actually.
It looks like first Rubin is going to make some very poor attacks into Majors' clearly larger creatures. So what he can do is he might activate, I don't know. I was going to say he could activate Hissing Quagmire, shrink it down, make it attack.
What he'll definitely be doing is using Llanowar Waste to do a point of damage to Rubin.
Oh, I like that. That'll put him to 9. Now remember, after this turn, Rubin gets the next turn again, but this time he actually gets to play it.
Right. And we'll be all but guaranteed that Rubin casts this Emrakul on that turn.
Yep, he's just checking with the judge. No, you can't make these cards like Infinite Obliteration and Emrakul, the Promised End, can only really be cast one way. You can't make them target the other player.
Yeah, and even if you're controlling Rubin, you can't cast Rubin's Emrakul and justify that the text on the card you cast allows you to take that turn that it gives you.
Yeah, there's no way to do that. So, and this is an interesting puzzle with these effects. How does Michael inflict the most damage? Now remember, these players, that time clock at the top is correct, and they've got to be aware of that.
Yeah. So I'm assuming about what we're going to see here. Infinite Obliteration. Maybe he names Primal Druid. Maybe he doesn't. Just get that out of Rubin's hand. Cast Liliana, tick it down, and pick up a land. I don't think you can miss on that ability, so you have to pick up something.
Right. You can only fail to find when getting cards from non-public zones. So if it's search your deck for a land, you can say, oh, I didn't find any lands, and your opponent has to take your word for it.
It does say may in the clause, though,
okay.
So you can just choose to not pick anything.
Easy enough. Looks like he'll cast Liliana Last Hope. He's going to, I believe, -2 it. Mill for 2. Mills another Liliana and a Murder. Bring nothing back. He's got 5 more mana to work with. Looks like we are going to go to attacks. Tireless Tracker. All right. Both creatures are blocked. Michael Majors right now has been issued a slow play warning by the judge. You may have noticed this turn is taking quite a while. So, because it's looking like they're going to go to turns, what this means is that instead of there being 5 turns at the end of play, there will be 7 turns. A slow play warning issued late in the round causes 2 additional turns to be added to the match. Michael's card's Elder Deep Fiend. And it looks like we are infinitely obliterating something out of Michael's deck. Did he choose? I think, yeah, he obliterated his own Primal Druids.
Love it. I also like that he made Rubin look through the deck for them instead of doing that himself.
No, it's your turn, Steve. Now we go to Steve Rubin's turn as taken by Steve Rubin. This will likely be turn 0. Remember, there will be 7 additional turns. Players at 9 on Rubin's side and 11 on Majors'. And when people take each other's turns, those all count. It's not always back and forth. It's just sheer turns here.
Right. And Majors has a Deep Fiend here. I believe that should shut off Rubin from casting his Emrakul.
Okay, so right on Rubin's upkeep, Majors is going to emerge a Deep Fiend out of his Deep Fiend. I gotta say the flavor behind that one's kind of weird to me. I don't know, but anyway, he'll do it, sacrificing the Deep Fiend. He's going to tap 4 of Rubin's lands, and yeah, as you mentioned, that should be enough mana. Rubin draws a Swamp. Cracks a Clue. And if Rubin actually can't cast his Emrakul here, he might just die to Majors' attack.
I mean, yeah, he certainly looks to be dead to it.
Well, maybe that Ishkana. Can he go ahead and make that? He needs a green mana source. Nissa will plus. It shows Grasp of Darkness. Oh, Rubin's at 9. There we go. It's a basic forest that was in Rubin's hand. And he's going to go with Obnixilis, Reignited. Okay. As the story goes, Obnixilis easily dispatches Emrakul.
Yeah, the Gatewatch messes around for a while, and then Obnixilis pledges allegiance to nobody and wins the day.
Back to Michael Majors' turn. This is turn 1. Here's the Elder Deep Fiend. Majors has his choice of Planeswalkers.
Nissa is pain-free card draw, though Obnixilis can tick up and then on the following turn destroy a creature.
We'll go with Liliana.
Liliana can recur some of Rubin's very powerful cards, so...
Casts Nissa's Pilgrimage. Now, I doubt he has 3 forests in his deck. Just the 1 into play. Turn 2. We're now on Steve Rubin's turn.
And Majors looks to just be out of stuff.
So Majors out of stuff. Rubin is going to have until turn 7 to clean things up, but there's still that Emrakul looming. I'm not all that worried about it.
No. Just take Majors' turn, attack the Deep Fiend into Emrakul. Hopefully his second draw step is blank.
And we go to Rubin. This is looking good here for the pro player. Both these players actually currently gold or better for the Magic Pro Tour season. Emrakul, the promise end. The 13-13. He will have Michael Majors' next turn. That will be turn 3.
This Emrakul should live up to its name. The previous one was slightly disappointing on that front. And then use some ability on the Planeswalkers. Draw a couple cards. Get on your merry old way to throwing Major's Deep Fiend in the bin.
So cast that. He has 2 mana left over. Den Protector played face up. Nissa -2ing for a 4/4. Some aggression on Steve Rubin's part. He'll untap with taking Majors' turn. Finds Evolutionary Leap.
Assume that we're seeing no spells cast, attack, block, activate the Pain Land.
Gotta find that value. Activate the Pain Land.
You can't just miss
Oh, he
the
didn't
Pain
do
Land.
it. He didn't do it. Oh,
no.
wow. Just ruined. Michael Majors. Now we are on turn 4. Oh, we did activate it, but it was verbal. He didn't tap it. All right.
Good.
Good.
And yet another Emrakul.
This is with Traverse the Ulfenvault from Michael Majors. Michael's going to try to get this. Remember, we are going to turn 7 because of a slow play warning.
And usually when you're in extra turns, you know whose turn is going to be the last turn.
Right, because this would be a draw normally, because Majors would take turn 4, take turn 5, and then be like, oh, guess the game's over. He'll pass back to Steve Rubin. This is turn 5. Once again, Rubin's turn played by Michael Majors. And oof, he can do a lot of damage. He drew a Ruinous Path here.
So I'm assuming that will be targeting Rubin's Emrakul and not Major's Emrakul.
Well, Obnixilis, the slayer of Emrakuls, will kill its second Emrakul this game.
That's what he's known best for.
All right, both those are down. We see Grasp of Darkness and Ruinous Path in Ruin's hand. Rubin's going to lose everything. 4/4 attacks into Emrakul.
Now, Major still has to be able to deal 8 damage. He wants to try to find a way where he can kill a bunch of Ishkanah's toughness. Well, and he has multiple removal spells in hand here.
Okay, Rubin will transgress himself for Ishkanah.
Okay, this one looking for a player, not an opponent.
Right, so the thing is that turn 6 is going to be Rubin's turn again, as played by Rubin, and Majors has the last game as play of the game on turn 7. So he's trying to set up a board where he can just attack with Emrakul to win. He'll play Vessel of Nascency, pick, I believe, nothing. Ruinous Path on the Den Protector, Grasp of Darkness, the Den Protector in response, and leave Rubin with nothing. Wow! Nothing but a creature land. Rubin draws. This is turn 6. What did he hit? It's Liliana. He's digging. Here's a -2. Is there an Emrakul in his yard? Oh no, there is, isn't there?
Liliana Macruel.
Oh goodness, yeah, he gets back Emrakul. This means turn 7, the last turn of the game, will be Steve Rubin's turn. Michael Majors will not be able to attack for victory. He had to dodge one top deck and Steve Rubin hits it.
That's brutal. Looks like we're going to 11-3-1.
Oh, and this thing just got real interesting for Brad Carpenter.
Yeah, a lot more draws in the mix here.
And what a back and forth. Counting extra turns in these Emrakul mirrors is a nightmare. And yeah, Rubin will cast it. Major's turn is turn number 7. I don't think there's a way to make Major's.
Last turn's your turn. You can't win when I'm controlling you.
He doesn't have 9 pain lands, right? We'll just confirm there.
Considerably fewer. I think still just the 1.
Well, all right. Draws Vessel of Nascency. And I mean, it'd be great, right? Rubin could use Evolutionary Leap to get rid of the Emrakul. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Majors can top deck him back. We're just...
Yeah, you wish that there was some kind of fireball that Majors could draw and he can just target himself.
Yeah, all right. He'll sacrifice Emrakul to Evolutionary Leap. He used a pain land to do it. It leaps into Tireless Tracker. What a back and forth this has been.
Yeah, this has been wild.
Oh.
One of the more interesting formats for that extra turn rule.
Vessel of Nascency showing 4 cards. There's another pain land. He can get him to 7.
Halfway there.
Puts Kozak's Return in the yard. Nope.
That's not
no
going to do
way
it.
to do it. This is the last turn. You see up there. This is the 7th and final turn of the game.
But I fought so hard. Why do we have to draw? And this is a position, you know, sometimes you'll see a concession here, a player says that they're beat, but here we're 11-3-1. It's too high leverage of a match, too. This is your invitational life.
Yeah.
This is your top 8 life.
It's hard to say, you know, and this has been such a difficult game back and forth. You see, we went to turn 7, and yeah, we're not going to have a winner on this one, and these players are going to be battling it out next round.
Still a chance that we see both these players in the top 8.
Big match between Majors and Rubin. So that is where the round is going to end. Michael Majors, 11-3-1. Steve Rubin, 11-3-1. Brad Carpenter, 11-3-1. Tom Ross, 12-3. Big question mark. This is going to be a real exciting last round.
Absolutely.